Hi, this is Richard Blade, and you're listening to the Blue Zone Podcast Network as it presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s, albums which have earned a permanent place of honor, both in our hearts and in our record collections.
We are living in a golden age, Sarah. We're here to talk about New Gold Dream, but it hit me this afternoon that we are living in a golden age.
Oh, really? Now, why is that?
There are so many new sodas out there that we are enjoying here as we work up to recording this episode. In the past few weeks, we've had Pepsi Peach, Coca-Cola Spiced, Sprite Chill, and Dr. Pepper Coconut Cream, all introduced on the U.S. soda market.
That's true.
Is there a better time to be alive than now?
Wow.
You answer that, and I'm going to sip a Coca-Cola Spice.
Okay. We do like our soda, don't we? And yeah, we've really been enjoying these new flavors. You are a big fan of novelty sodas.
I love novelty sodas. I'm always excited to try novelty pizzas. Ultimately, I don't like them.
Yeah.
But I always want to try them.
And novelty Oreos as well.
Yeah, that's right. Although, I'll tell you, that new Oreo, Sour Patch Kids Oreo, no interest at all.
I don't blame you there.
From this corner of the table.
That does not sound like a good combination.
No, you'll find me just sitting in the corner, sipping a Sprite Chill.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Yeah. Sprite Chill, it's lemon. No, it's cherry lime.
Yes, cherry lime.
With some sort of chemical in it that's supposed to make your mouth feel cold as you drink it. The same thing that's traditionally was in like Quench gum or Gatorade gum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make any impact on it, but I just like the flavor of the cherry lime.
Yeah, it is a delightful, refreshing summertime flavor.
So by the time this comes out, I guess probably we will have kicked off summer, right? What is next weekend? It's the unofficial kickoff of summer. It is
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend. Pretty sure that this episode won't be out until that weekend or maybe a few days after.
Well, yeah, that is the unofficial start of summer. Of course, the real start of summer is not till June, but here in America, all the pools open and people have cookouts and all kinds of stuff happens, and it just does seem like it's the unofficial start of summer.
Yeah, I like novelty seasons. Like, there's summer, yeah, that's fine, but the novelty season, the summer that starts unofficially with Memorial Day.
Yeah.
That's the best summer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Love novelties.
You do.
Not so much novelty songs. I'm sure there are a couple novelty songs I like. What was that song you were playing this morning?
We are supposed to have sex or something like that. It was like, I remember the artist was Tony Okay, and it was something like we're supposed to be having sex. I forget what it was called, but something along those lines, and that was in the song.
Yeah, that sounds like a novelty song.
Yeah.
And it was stuck in my head for a little while. I guess I let it slip away.
Yeah, that's okay.
Speaking of slip away, I don't want to let this chance to thank somebody slip away,
Okay.
Sarah.
All right.
Over the past few years, friend of the show, Alan Hogg, has gone out of his way to treat us to many, many things to keep us preoccupied on our time off, but keep us focused. Like, these are all treats that relate to 80s music.
Right. He keeps us in the loop, keeps us informed, helps us to be more knowledgeable and more entertained, I would say.
Very true. And I always thank him, via email or on Messenger somehow. Personally, one-on-one, I say thank you. But I just wanted to take this chance because he sent us something awesome in the past 2 weeks that we really, really enjoyed as we've been getting into the Pet Shop Boys' new album, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So, I've thanked him dozens of times one-on-one, but I wanted to say on the show, hey, Alan Hogg, thanks so much for looking after Brian and Sarah for the past few years. We truly do appreciate it.
I agree. I second that. He's a fantastic guy, very generous, very thoughtful, and we are very thankful for him and all of his support.
That's all true. And speaking of great guys, before we get started talking about Simple Minds, see how I'm just segueing like a lunatic
Oh
today?
my gosh, you're on fire.
My broadcasting skills are just amazing.
They really are.
Speaking of great guys, we want to thank one more time Will Crudson for joining us in the last episode.
Oh, yes, definitely.
As he was wrapping up his U.S. tour with Adam Ant. They played Cruel World last weekend. And I saw Scant Regard had a little solo show while they were out there. I think he mentioned that when we were talking with him.
Oh, that's very, very cool.
So he's back home. And if you follow Scant Regard on social media, or wait, maybe it's not if you follow Scant Regard, but if you follow our friend Pam on social media, He went and saw Tom Bailey the other night at the Into the Gap tour.
Yes, that was a cool picture that she shared of him with her, and the fact that they got to see that show. Super jealous of both of them. I would love to see the Into the Gap album played in its entirety.
And of course, he's not playing it the whole way through. He's playing every song on the album, but he's playing it along with hits and some new songs off of Science Fiction.
Right.
So it's not the album from beginning to end, but you're still going to hear those songs, and we're probably not going to hear it this summer. We're going to see him on the Totally Tubular tour, but I'm sure he's not going to be breaking out songs like Who Can Stop the Rain and Storm on the Sea.
Yeah.
He'll be playing like more of a greatest hits tour, which is going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be cool to see those songs.
So anyway, once again, thank you, Will, for joining us. Thanks for your support of our show. We're really thankful to have you as a listener and really appreciated the chance to talk to you.
Yeah, it was awesome. So thanks so much, my friend. And that brings us up to Simple Minds. It's been a while since we were talking about New Gold Dream.
I agree. I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting patiently or maybe even impatiently for that.
Well, the day has arrived. We are back and ready to go. We're loosened up now. We're ready to roll.
Yeah.
And we are here to talk about Simple Minds' 1982 album, New Gold Dream, 81, 82, 83, 84.
Very exciting.
So last time we were together, we discussed up to and including Promised You a Miracle.
That's right.
Which means we are picking this up at track 4 on side 1. So I will just reach over here to the turntable. I just recently got a new stylus on the turntable last week. So it should sound really, really good. And here is just a little taste of the first song we're going to talk about today. This is called Big Sleep.
In the early beginning, going out to the big sleep. Oh, out to the big sleep. Could have been years. You know, it could have been years. All the seconds are gone. Big sleep. Where are you now?
All right, so there is a little taste of Big Sleep. I'm going to start off the discussion here by quoting the Classic Pop review from their article on New Gold Dream. They took a look back for the 40th anniversary and talked about the album and had a paragraph for each song.
Nice.
This is what they have to say about Big Sleep. It's a middling track on the album in terms of position, but all the elements are here for the future of Simple Minds, with big synth riffs, an evolving arrangement, and hands-in-the-air moments. Big Sleep is almost designed as a future stadium favorite, and the perfect vehicle for the new style of Kerr vocal, which would ring out in major venues for the next 4 decades or so. What do you say to that review, Sarah?
That's very interesting. I'm not sure what I think about that.
I asked the question because I don't hear any of that in this song. I read that and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? This song does not contain the elements of the future Simple Minds. It does not contain big synth riffs. It does have an evolving arrangement, but I'm not pumping my hands in the air. With this song, I'm kind of putting my hands in my pockets because I can't dance to it, and it's kind of boring me a little bit, and I want a better song to be played.
Oh, my.
That is how I feel listening to Big Sleep.
Yeah, I would not get like the sense that this is an anthemic song, which I think is what the Classic Pop article is trying to say, that this is, something along the lines of what we just listened to, like Promised You a Miracle. Yeah, that's a big grand song with hands in the air moments. I don't want to put my hands in the air for this one.
No, I don't want to raise my arms.
Yeah. I don't know. That's really, really strange. I have an excerpt from an article from The Guardian from 2015. They did something called Simple Minds, 10 of the Best, and they actually ranked this song number 8. Now, I guess I don't know if it's actually in the order of how good they are, but it's number 8 on their list of 10 of the best songs. And they start off by saying, they had been kind of talking about this album and, how it's kind of the pinnacle of their career or something. But they start off by saying, "We're atop that mountain now. The atmosphere is hushed, still, airy." Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. that I can get. McNeil's keyboards and Burchell's guitars have never sounded so weightless and beautiful, and Forbes brings the most delicate funk imaginable. I like that.
Yeah, we've been talking this whole time about what a good addition to the band Derek Forbes and his bass guitar is bringing. He's making everything to a certain extent have a little bit of funkiness to it.
Yeah, and it is. I like the term delicate funk here because it's not overpowering. It's not super groovy, but it's groovy enough that it kind of keeps things in motion, I think, but not so much that you are going to want to dance, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The review goes on to say, with a title perhaps referencing the Raymond Chandler novel, we'll talk about that in a minute, New Gold Dream's fourth song finds Kerr, just 22, pondering the bigger issues. Ostensibly, Big Sleep finds him wondering where we all go, when we sleep, when we die. However, the elemental imagery seems to contain an inherent recognition that all triumphs, however great, are only fleeting. Indeed, at the very moment that they stand atop that mountain, the band are perhaps penning their own requiem for their mercurial youth. We were on the top and the world was spinning. We were only young in the whirlpool of warning, going out in the big sleep, out in the big sleep. Could have been years, you know it could have been years, or only seconds ago.
There are so many critics and Simple Minds fans online that are going to latch onto that and say that, yeah, they were on the mountaintop for this one brief moment, and then almost immediately afterwards, they did everything wrong.
Yeah.
There are so many reviews out there that say things like that. Jim Kerr is a perfect example of what not to do in a rock and roll career. I'm much more laid back than those people. There are records that I think Simple Minds released that are kind of boring to listen to, but there are people that say their decline started immediately after this album, and to me, that's not true.
I would agree. I think that's kind of nonsense.
Yeah, we have a couple good albums. If you want to complain about Once Upon a Time, I will understand your arguments and comprehend what you're saying to some extent because of just how much they changed their sound and how much they want to become U2. But I still think that's a great album. And then they go through that dry period in the 90s with a couple albums in a row, 2 or 3 albums that are not very good. But they come out on the other side having learned what they did wrong, which I think is great. Right. It's interesting to tackle the question of where do you go when you go into the big sleep, if the big sleep is death. They say it's, they're tackling that question. They're not the first people to tackle that question.
Absolutely
not the last people, but it's kind of cool when someone does it. My complaint here with this one is if they're tackling this question, they're really just circling around the question, and at no point do the lyrics attempt to answer it.
No, not at all. It's just, I think it's really him just wondering aloud, thinking to himself out loud, where do we go? What does happen?
He's wondering where you wander when you're sleeping.
Right. I like that very much.
And, I'm not going to a 22-year-old for answers on what happens after you pass away. I'm not going to an 80-year-old because nobody knows.
That's right.
Now, I'm not criticizing Jim Kerr and his writing prowess because I was on here a few episodes ago really, really singing his praises and comparing him to some of the more established and respected writers of English language poetry.
Yes, that's true.
I just don't think that this song is all that great in terms of lyrics or writing or music or really in a lot of ways.
Oh,
in fact, this is my least favorite song on the album.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
That is surprising.
But I'm very surprised because, with it being based on Raymond Chandler's book, I thought I would really like it because I'm a huge fan of film noir, huge fan of Philip Marlowe, even as a kid. I don't know what it was, man, but when I was a kid in middle school, I think.
Are we getting into like a different territory? Are you veering off into like another podcast? Are we going to do a noir podcast now?
No, it's all related. HBO had a 6-issue series starring Tyrone Powers, I think his name was. What a dimwit. I meant to say Powers Booth. Sorry, folks. And it was Philip Marlowe, this private eye who just wore a fedora.
Yep.
Thought it was awesome. And then when I grew up, I realized that, there's decades of movies, of film noir movies about gumshoe detectives who were all the same as Philip Marlowe, Sam Spade, all these other guys. They're awesome. I actually have read a couple Raymond Chandler books. I did not read Big Sleep. I thought I did, but I did not. I've seen the Humphrey Bogart movie. And that's a great movie, as Sarah spills water all over the place. This song, of course, does not really address the film noir world of Philip Marlowe.
No. I had to laugh when I read that in the Guardian article. Just because it's titled The Big Sleep or Big Sleep doesn't mean it has anything to do with Raymond Chandler or Humphrey Bogart or San Francisco or any of that stuff. I mean, in the liner notes provided in the reissue of the album, they have some notes about this song, although I'm not sure that these notes actually apply specifically to this song. I feel like they just kind of threw them in here, but I will jump off of them after I read them. Jim says in a 2008 Sunday Herald interview, he says, some of the songs on New Gold Dream were less influenced by the music we were listening to at the time and were more influenced by cinema. Oh, then you think, maybe they do mean Humphrey Bogart. No. Especially one of our favorite directors was a guy named Herzog, and he'd come up with 2 or 3 movies, especially Fitzcarraldo, which is about someone who goes out looking for his own new gold dream. And I think there was always an element of Simple Minds, Birch Hill and McNeil, where I felt they were coming up with music that would have been equally suited to movie soundtracks. So he mentions they were watching movies by Herzog, but they were also watching movies by Godard, Fassbinder, Cocteau. So, those are all very like arty filmmakers.
Right.
And so the themes of death, loss, grief, and the malleable nature of time, all things that we find in this song were most certainly covered in those movies.
Mm-hmm. And you're implying they're not covered in John Huston's Big Sleep?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Not to the same extent. Yeah, sure, there might be some death, right? Like a murder. But yeah, not the way that Jim Kerr is talking about it in this song. Like, once the guy dies, they're not all standing around like, well, I wonder where he is now. So anyway, it's not about that movie. It's not about that book.
No, it is not. So, like I said, I've complimented Jim and his lyrics on this album a few times. I'm not too impressed with the words here. So I can see that their lyrics and the ideas that they're having are influenced by these artsy, artistic films. We've talked about them earlier in this retrospective. But the writing here, in terms of lyrics, is kind of letting down the intelligence of the music, maybe. I'll give it that this song is musically intelligent. I just don't think it's catchy and it doesn't grab me like some of the other things. I mean, we're getting lines like communication lost in the thundering rain style, which when I read that in 2024, it sounds to me like someone accessed AI back in 1982 somehow and said, write me a good line about thunder. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I understand that some of the lyrics that he has on this album are sort of a confusing combination of words, but that just seems very, very awkward to me. Thundering rain style. It
almost sounds Japanese to me, honestly.
Like someone whose first language is not English?
Well,
and
no,
they translate something very badly?
Or like how they, I don't know, when you describe certain types of martial arts as like a certain style, but Thundering Rain style sounds like the style of something that's happening or something like an action.
It does sound fearsome with the word thundering in there.
Yeah.
Now, one aspect of the lyrics that does work for me is what Jim does with references in the song to seconds, the time period of seconds.
Yeah.
And first we get it in the verse, which details everything these people have been through together. Is it the band? Is it the narrator and his valuable friend? I'm not sure. But they were on top in a chaotic situation while they were young, surviving together through a wild storm. But the question is, when exactly did that happen? Years or seconds ago?
And I like that idea. I like that because we feel like that all the time, right? We're like, man, that feels like it just happened. And yet on the same token, it feels like it happened 1,000,000 years ago.
Yeah, and it gets worse as you get older.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm sure most people, if you're listening to this podcast, you know, because why would you be in your 20s and be listening to this music that you weren't alive for?
Well.
But how many times do I say, oh, the other day we did this, and you're like, that was 2017.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw like a meme online somewhere where I'm at the age where the other day could mean anywhere from like 2 weeks to 10 years ago.
Yep.
And that is where we are. And the pandemic did us no favors with that either. You know, but yeah. But it's so true, right? You know, that was it years ago or was it only seconds ago? I don't know.
You remember the other day when I picked up the Exciter album over at the Capital City Mall on lunch break at work?
No, the other day.
So then Second shows up again in my favorite part of this song, and it's in those lines, for a lifetime I'm grateful, and it's only seconds away, big sleep, deep sleep. It sounds to me that as the song ends, we are catching this guy at the end of his life, thankful for everything that he has been able to experience. Ooh. That's what I'm getting from it.
Oh, I like that.
You know, was he successful the entire time? It doesn't matter. You know, he had the experience. If he was successful for a brief moment and then got to experience the ramifications of that, you know, it was all worthwhile. He's appreciative of it.
Yeah, kind of like the end of Was It All Worth It by Queen? Yes, it was a worthwhile experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a nice way to end the song. I like your thought. I would say I don't disagree with that idea.
So I want to talk with you. I'm sure you want to talk about this too. Just talk about the components of the music and the music overall, the performance on the song.
Yes.
So I have a quote to cleverly segue us, since I'm all about segues today. This is from a blog called It Starts With a Birthstone, and it's written by someone named Brushbox.
Okay.
And it's been active since 2013 and still going.
Hey, that's impressive.
Which is impressive for a blog.
Yeah.
Wow.
My blog is no longer active.
So Brushbox said, if I had to go to particular moments that represent New Gold Dream's greatness and illustrate how it casts its spell, I'd go first to Big Sleep. It takes me back to being 16 and holding those small, cheap plastic speakers to my head. Kerr is doing his mystic dancing, weaving, chanting thing. Derek Forbes, Mick McNeil, Charlie Birchill, and whoever the drummer is on this track are embroidering it with layer upon layer of beautiful, melodic, hypnotic waves of sound, which repeat and build until opening up to a whole level of intensity towards the end of the song. We'll have to list who the drummer is since we were doing that.
Oh, yeah, I have that note.
All right, very good. Like so often on the album, the title and the lyrics are a hint towards where we're heading into a glorious, dreamlike, eternal moment. Brushbox is very enthusiastic and very much in love with this song. I am not so much that way, but I did like the way that he is talking about the contributions of each member here and saying how effective they are in his opinion.
Right.
What do you think? So far, we've been really complimentary to most of the playing on this record. Do you think the playing is really good here and that, like me, the songwriting is kind of letting us down? Or do you think that this is a good track that's on the level with what we've heard before?
Okay, that's a good question. I will say that definitely the playing is still on the good level because I really like, in this song in particular, how I can hear how all the different layers are arranged and timed to leave so much space. And we've talked about that, how much space there is in this whole album, the way it was produced. They left things out. I don't know, for me, that in this song, I hear all these different layers existing at different tempos. You know, we've got the drums, they're very foundational. The bass is a little bit slow too. And then the higher layers up, and I call them the main keyboard riff, that's a little faster. And we get these really tiny little synth sounds that are like raindrops or tiny little birds. And they're really fast, but they're small enough they don't overwhelm the song. So I think in terms of the musicianship and the instrumentation, I think it's just the same, or even maybe, well, I don't want to say better, definitely on the same level. The vocals, the lyrics, Jim's lyrics are just, we've talked about this before. He's a very enigmatic writer. And a lot of the things that he writes because they sound good to sing more than they make sense or they convey a specific idea.
Right, and he admits that.
Yeah. That didn't bother me. The lyrics of this song didn't bother me. One thing I did notice, and I don't know if this is just me noticing it on this song or if I'm going to throw this idea out here, see what you think of it. As I was listening to him sing this song, I took notice of the fact that sometimes it sounds like he's delivering the lyrics really quickly, which I know he sometimes does. But in this song, I got the sense that it's if he wants to stop singing as soon as possible to let the music take center stage again. Like he wants to get out of the way and get out of the way the rest of the instruments. And then sometimes he slows down and he draws out certain words. And I was thinking because he would feel at that time it was appropriate for his voice to become the main instrument. And maybe this is what he does all the time. I don't know. What do you think? I never thought of it that way. And for some reason, that idea came to me in this song.
All right, I came to this episode with no note papers in front of me for some reason. For the first time ever, I don't have a stack of papers in front of me. So I'm trying really hard to write down things that you said on this little envelope that I have.
Okay.
Because you said a lot that I want to reply to.
Okay.
But the thing that you just said, the idea of Jim's voice at times being the main instrument. Well, firstly, I didn't really get the pick up on the fact that he kind of hurries some lines and not hurries other lines. That idea, that's not something I noticed. I'm not saying you're wrong, I just didn't notice it. If he is at any time intending his voice to be the main instrument of this song, then shame on whoever mixed it, because the mix of his vocals, maybe it's what they wanted, but I don't like it. The vocals in this song are never at the point where it is comfortable to listen to it. They're at the level where if you really focus on the song, it's just loud enough. You can't complain to them about the mixing on this, because if you sit down and listen to it carefully, you can hear all the vocals. But you have to listen carefully. This is not a song that you can casually listen to and pick up everything he's saying.
Oh, yeah, I would totally agree.
Yeah, and that is hindered. I mean, just doing that with this album, you're hindered anyway because of the oddity of the lyrics. We talked about it somewhere in summertime, I think.
Yeah.
About how the words are awkward and it prevents you from being able to sort of memorize them just from listening to it.
Right.
But on this song, it's not just that. It's also the mix, which is making it very, very hard to focus. Until you focus, you're going to think these lyrics are being drowned out. I don't like it.
Okay.
Then the other thing you said was, did the lyrics bother me? You talked about the lyrics, whether or not they bothered you.
Yeah.
They don't bother me. There's nothing here that's bad. I just don't think they're as good as what has come before it on the album.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
What does bother me on this song, the thing that I do not like in the performance is, for the first time, I'm not liking everything Charlie's doing on guitar. There are some parts in this song where he's in the background just bending notes.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cat meowing to me.
Oh.
And it bugs the heck out of me.
Interesting. Is that kind of like towards the end?
No, it's in the first half.
Oh, okay.
From the midway point onwards, around the time they start whispering Big Sleep,
Yeah.
the guitar is very good.
Okay.
The wailing cats do come back before the ending too, knowing me a bit. But for a while, they disappear and we get like much better guitar parts.
Okay.
But for that first half of the song, man, it's just these weird bending notes, and I did not like that at all.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean by those. I guess I just ignored them. I don't even have a note on them. I know that they are there, but they didn't bother me enough to write about. What I did write about was that towards the end, after the whispers, some of those guitar sounds and Jim's vocals sound like they're doing a call and response to each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's sort of, he's wailing, the guitar's wailing. I got that sense, again, two instruments kind of speaking to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen. I listened to this a number of times as we were getting ready, but I really have trouble connecting with this song. So even though I listened to it the whole way through, I guess it didn't impact my brain enough that I can just recall it on demand.
Do you think that Jim's vocals seem especially theatrical in this song? Like even more so than in other songs?
I would say no. I think that his vocals are unusual the whole way through and always have a certain amount of drama to them. This one, maybe if they're supposed to, I'm losing it because of how much I'm focusing on the fact that I can't hear him as much as I would like to.
Okay.
So it could be that I'm just blind to it if you're hearing that.
I don't know. They seem pretty theatrical, almost to the point where it didn't work to me. It almost seems like too much, but I do think that he pulls back at the right moments. But I don't know. It just didn't, it was like dangerously close to being comical.
Oh, really?
Over the edge, like, whoa. It's like, all right. I was okay with where he stopped. To me, I was like, okay, you just made it under the wire here.
Good job, Jim. We're also going to shine a spotlight directly on Derek Forbes, who once again is the highlight of this song.
Wow. Yeah. He's like killing it on this album. He's just so tremendous. I love this bass line. It's delicate and funky at the same time. Really, really impressive.
And he always works really well with the drum section, the rhythm section, regardless of who it is. I wish I knew who was playing drums on this song.
Right. I mean, every song we've been starting off, or we've been definitely at least saying at some point, who is the drummer for this song? I have that question for each song. Who was the drummer? For this song, the drummer was Mel Gaynor.
All right, Mel.
All right, Mel.
Everyone's favorite. He goes on to stay in Simple Minds for quite some time.
Yes, and with good reason. He's a very, very capable and talented drummer. And he delivers a very steady, consistent beat throughout this song. I think this is not the most exciting drum pattern on this song.
Yeah.
Very, very, I don't want to say plotting. It's just very, there's not a lot of differences to it, but it's good. It's suitable.
No aspect of this song is the most exciting
No.
example of anything on this album to me, like I said.
Okay, so this is definitely not your favorite song. I have one more thing I want to mention about it because I've been doing this with every song too. How well does this song fit within the title?
Oh, all right. I'm grabbing my lyric sheet so I can follow along with you.
Well, yeah, and this one I would say is pretty tenuous. So for the word new, well, we do have the phrase in the early beginning, so that could be considered new. Mm-hmm. For gold, we have the line valuable friend, so gold is valuable. And then for dream, okay, this one's a little easier because sleep and dream, they go pretty well together.
Yeah.
So, not the greatest. Like I said, kind of tenuous link, but, certainly for dream, I feel like, I could see this being a little bit dreamlike.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So maybe 1 out of 3, 1.5 out of 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything you say is true. It's just the real concrete example that I'm going to buy into there, Sarah, is the sleep and dream part of it.
Yeah, that was the strongest one I thought we had on this one.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Okay.
So even with the impressive bass work and the atmospheric keyboards, I have to label this song, like I said, as my least favorite on the album. It's not the worst song ever. It's not even a bad song. It's just okay, as no aspect of it really draws me in and makes me love it.
Something has to be last.
That's right. Like, I'm most people's least favorite host on the show.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
One of us has to be the least favorite.
I
less
am
favorite.
sure
There's only two of us.
that somebody up there likes you. All right, well, I guess I'm doing pretty well with the segues too, huh?
Yeah, that was good.
That was not even planned, I gotta say. Yeah, so we are up to the last track on the first side of the album, and we are greeted with an instrumental. How about that?
There often were instrumental tracks on Simple Minds' early albums, so it's not a surprise to get an instrumental here.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice, but not completely out of left field or completely strange. I have a little note from the Hi-Fi News article that talks about it, and it says, the band's confidence is shown on Somebody Up There Likes You, which had been jammed out in rehearsals and had lyrics, but they decided to leave it as an instrumental. Its serene glide through a rarefied atmosphere gives us one of New Gold Dream's most sublime moments. Mm-hmm. So they are big fans of this song.
Yeah, this is a good song. You know what I often think about when this song starts?
I do not know.
Like the first couple seconds of this song, I am always shocked when it's not this. Because this is what we're hearing.
Oh.
In those first couple seconds. And my brain always says, oh, it's this. Do you know what that is?
I think I do. Yeah.
John Parr.
Yeah. Sing Elmo's Fire. Oh my gosh.
Let's hear that again, just because I took the time to make these clips.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, you faded that right into it, too. That was very impressive. Wow.
I'm a mix master.
Oh, man. Now I'm going to hear that all the time, too.
I hear it every time, yeah.
Oh, well, that's funny.
It sounds like the same chord to me.
Yeah, I think it is, and very similar synth voice as well. Huh, how about that?
I'm connecting songs on this album to other songs like crazy.
You really are.
I actually emailed our friend Rob Rowe from VHXRR yesterday because the beginning of the previous song, Big Sleep, reminded me of the beginning of a Cause and Effect song called Sleep.
Oh.
And I had to know. I won't be able to sleep for the whole week if I don't know. Yeah, did Big Sleep influence Sleep by Cause and Effect? Moral of the story is he's not aware that it did influence him.
Okay, not consciously anyway. Maybe he was asleep.
Maybe he was, subconscious. Although he said he loves this album.
Oh, hey. Oh, good.
He said that's one of his favorite albums.
Ooh, maybe he'll actually listen to this.
Yeah, but Keith from Cause and Effect came up with that keyboard riff.
Oh.
After Rob had sent like a guitar demo version.
Okay, interesting.
Yep. So
All
that
right.
was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Sleep, my love.
All right, so back to this song.
You mean this one?
No.
Oh, you mean this one?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to go.
All right. So if you read the liner notes for the deluxe edition, you saw a note that said that this song was based around the Mahler chords, an idea that
Yes.
Charlie developed whilst jamming in the Fife farmhouse for the New Gold Dream album.
I was intrigued by that, the Mahler chords, because
Yeah.
I have always been intrigued by Gustav Mahler. I think that's his name.
Yes, right. And why were you intrigued by him?
I was intrigued by him because back in the 90s, I was a big fan. I mean, I'm still a fan, but he was putting out books in the 90s. The British author John Gardner, who was one of the continuation authors of the James Bond series, but he also had written his own books for quite some time. And he wrote a lot of espionage thrillers. And he had a really good series about a spy named Herbie Kruger. And the best book in that series was one called Maestro. I love Maestro. In fact, I loved it so much I actually wrote to John Gardner just to tell him that I loved it.
Wow,
He wrote
fan
back-
letter.
Yep, he wrote back and said, "Yeah, everyone tells me that's my best book. I guess it is." But he was very nice. But Herbie Kruger was a huge fan of Mahler. That was the only thing he ever listened to, and he would often talk about the music. And as I would read the books, I was like, I really should learn this music so I can try to understand the story better.
Yeah.
But at that time, there wasn't like YouTube and things, so I would have had to go out and buy Mahler records, which I couldn't really get myself too excited to buy classical music, spend my money on that when I could buy like a new Depeche Mode 12-inch or something.
Right.
Like that. But I've always had, because of that, a little interest in Mahler, and I have read about him online over the years and listened to some stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, I tried to do some research into Mahler chords. I thought maybe that was a thing. So I started looking into this, and wow, everything I found was really pretty complicated music theory. Nick Oswald, if you're out there, I couldn't even begin to really wrap my head around all of the things, and there was no way I could explain it to anybody out here. And honestly, there wasn't anything specific. After I read all these things for a little bit of time, I just determined what I read, that he just uses really complex and unusual chord structures and progressions in his compositions. He was just kind of really out there, kind of marking the future, with tonality and things like that. Just really odd combinations of notes.
Right. I took a little sample of the first paragraph of Wikipedia and just pasted it here into my notepad, just to give a brief explanation of who he was. He was born in 1860 and died in 1911. He was Austro-Bohemian romantic composer and one of the leading conductors of his generation. And he has gone on to serve as a bridge between 19th century German tradition and the modernism of the 20th century. He kind of is a segue, since this episode is all about segues.
Yeah.
And when he was alive, he had a very high reputation. He was very well regarded. His music became very popular after some periods of relative neglect, because in much of Europe during the Nazi era, he was banned.
Oh, because he was German?
Yes, couldn't play his music. But after the war, his compositions were rediscovered by a new generation of listeners, and he became one of the most frequently performed and recorded of all composers, which is a position he still holds as we travel through the 21st century.
Wow.
So he was kind of important because he bridged two worlds, that earlier era and the modern era of the 20th century.
Are you saying he walked between worlds?
He did walk between worlds, yes.
How about
with
that?
some really big music.
Wow. So there isn't a thing called the Mahler chords. It's
No,
not
there's
like,
not a list of like A minor 7 is a Mahler, yeah.
right. But you could tell that Charlie had these things in his mind as he was, coming up with this song. I think I figured out maybe where they are in the song. Right around 109 is where we're getting those Mahler chords, because that's when we get this series of chords that sound kind of unusual. I don't know if atonal is the right word, but they definitely don't sound traditional. That section there, it's kind of after the lead up, I guess you could say, that first kind of intro section. Like, I can't say it any other way. Unusual synth chords. I think those are them.
I'll have to throw a sample in there to give people that mark in the song, because I
Okay.
can't think of it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
and I can't even sing it back to you right now in this context, but that's probably okay.
So I have a nice story that Jim told in 2016 about this song and how it happened to find its way on the album. It's a really long paragraph.
That's
I filled
okay.
out my notes with this quote because it is a good story,
Yeah.
but also because I have trouble coming up with things to say about instrumental songs. So
I
I'm
know.
hoping that this quote will fill a lot of my obligation to talk about Somebody Out There Likes You.
Oh, goodness.
So this is what Jim said in 2016. Everyone made their own way to the studio, and most days I would walk up through Holland Park, over the roundabout, and on up to Goldhawk Road, where the local market was always in full swing. At least once or twice a week I would be accompanied by George Golfey, a friend of the band, great supporter, absolutely full of life type of man. We would stop at a cafe on our way, but George always insisted we also stop and look in the window of the garage showroom that sold antique cars. He was passionate about the design of these admittedly beautiful machines. Personally, I couldn't have cared less. We were on a weekly wage of £35 at the time, and none of us owned a car or a driving license. In terms of gadgets, I was delighted enough with my recently purchased Sony Walkman. Using it constantly, whenever I put it down, George would immediately grab it and flip inside a cassette that had an instrumental tune written mostly by Mick McNeil. It was called Somebody Up There Likes You, and George would tell us that we'd be nuts not to include it on the album. He was, of course, right. George is no longer with us, but every time I hear this track, it is him that I remember. It is a beautiful piece of music, and George knew beauty when we came across it. So I like that story. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is a nice story.
I don't know, Jim, it's obvious from his lyrics that, he's able to string together a story. But like putting the detail into that quote, it's totally irrelevant. The guy liked to stop and look at antique automobiles.
Yeah.
But it really does help you like grasp that guy.
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, it's an seemingly unnecessary detail, but it does add to the story and adds to your understanding of him as a person. So yeah, I really like that. And yeah, he's certainly a good writer, a good storyteller. So I think it's interesting that for this song, at first, Jim Kerr did come up with lyrics, but then he decided the song would be better without them.
Yeah, that's what I read.
I think that's pretty cool that he was not completely fixated on being able to sing every one of their songs. He for the song Theme for Great Cities, he tried to come up with lyrics for that one. He just couldn't come up with anything. So he decided the song must not need them. In this case, he did have something, and then he decided, no, I'm not going to do that. And I think that's good. It goes to show that he had a good sense of what would be helpful and what would be detrimental to his song. And he was content to step back when he realized his voice would not make the song better.
Now, this seems to be a favorite. A lot of people online like this, so settle down. But I'm going to come out and say that I think, while I like this song, I think that it needs a little something more in the last quarter of the song, at the very end of the song. It needs something else added to the mix, in my opinion. I have always talked about how I like songs that evolve.
Yeah.
We just watched the video for PIMPF.
Right.
And that's a song, it starts with just the piano line.
And it really builds.
It really, we get the bass, then we get the drums, the boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then we get the, hey.
Right.
Like every, I don't know, ever how many measures, something new is added to the mix until it just becomes super powerful.
Yes.
And that's what I would like to hear on this track. Even though I do like this song, I think that the song is good. I never skip it. I enjoy listening to it. When we get to around the 3-minute and 30-second mark, I'm ready for something exciting to come into the mix and take us to the end. I don't know what I want to come in, but now that we're talking about the fact that Jim had lyrics, maybe some lyrics could have come in at the end. Like, because right now, the last quarter of the song sounds very similar to the middle of the song.
Yeah.
There's no change. So it would have been nice to have some lyrics. Maybe we could have just had some vocal effects. Like
that's true.
Some harmonies, vocal harmonies or something. Mm-hmm. But I would be curious to know what the vocal melody line of the song was that he was singing.
And that was my thought too, because I think that this song would be hard to put a melody line to the way it is designed right now, especially those Mahler chords, if that's really what they are. Uh-huh. I don't know what you would sing to accompany those chords. I'm sure that something could be done. Some smart person could come up with something.
That's why he gets the big bucks and we don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you mean about this song. I am less of a fan of this song than you are because this is my least favorite song on the album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I wanted to compare it to Theme for Great Cities because that's another famous instrumental. And so I listened to that song, and to me, that one sounds more like a traditional song, like Theme for Great Cities. It has a lot more structure to it. I don't think it would be very hard to put a melody line on top of it. It even has its own kind of melody line with that synth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's there. So this one, it sounds like it has a good start to it. The rhythm section, it sounds like it could turn into something. And then we get these little bleeps and blips of synths and little plucks of guitar. And then we get the Mahler chords, and I'm like, what are we doing? And then just kind of goes back right around to what it was doing before. Well, there's some more synths and guitars, but overall, this song sounds more like it has more improvisation than Theme for Great Cities. It sounds less structured. It sounds less finished. To me, it really does sound more like a jam session. It's an interesting song, but it is my least favorite. I don't think it's not as complete as I would want it to be. And I think you're feeling a little bit similarly.
Yeah, I would say that I do feel that. I wish it was a little more complete. And by complete, I mean continue to build. I think that Theme for Great Cities is more of a traditional early 80s rock song. It's an instrumental with some synthesizers in it, but it is more of a rock song. This is, I'm sure you saw this as you're reading it, they often throw the word progressive. This is a progressive song.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some unusual timings in it, and it might appear more meandering. Like what we're hearing here, my limited knowledge of the genre prompts me to say this is like a jazz influenced song because it's not as regimented. But I'm not going to say that because I don't want people to laugh at me.
Okay.
I don't know if that really is what's happening here. But I think there are lots of cool little snippets that happen throughout the song. Like you said, there are like little guitar parts and synth parts that sound really good. But, they don't amount to anything more than a few seconds at a time.
Right.
And I guess that is kind of the progressive element here. But yeah, it's complete. I understand that it's complete. It's what they want it to be. But I would like it to be a little bit more complete with a definitive synth line or some kind of definitive line that your brain can latch onto.
Right. That's my complaint with it as well. There's no hook, really. There's not enough of anything here that you can just remember and hum along to or sing along to, or I don't know. It's just kind of all little pieces put together. It makes up a whole, but it's not like, I don't know if the sum is greater than the parts.
That's a good observation. I would wonder that same thing. In the quote I saw from Jim talking about that there were words at one point to the song, he does say Simple Minds always had this ambient side. So I guess he's kind of considering this to be ambient music.
Yeah.
And it does sort of remind me of some of the modern, mellow electronic instrumental artists that I've been listening to recently.
Okay.
I think on an episode I mentioned Darwin McTee.
Yes.
Who had an EP last year. Parts of this song remind me of stuff that's on his album, and he pointed me in the direction of a artist named Tourist, who I listened to this week. Also, I was thinking of Tourist as I was listening to this. Same kind of sound, very mellow, atmospheric, hard to focus. You have to look at it big picture. You have to expand if you're looking at this song through binoculars, you got to zoom out so you can see the big picture, because if you zoom in, it's going to be hard to focus on anything because there isn't anything there.
Okay.
So you've got to take this song like as a whole and ponder it as you're listening to it. Now, having said that, I think this part of the song is awesome. Every time this happens, I get super excited and I love it. And what I love there the most are those drums. I love the sound of those drums.
Okay.
So I want to give credit to whoever's playing these drums
on
this track.
All right.
I wish I knew who it was.
Oh, who is it? Who is playing the drums on this song? The eternal question. For this song, the drummer was Mike Ogletree.
Mike, I remember liking him as we talked about the history of this album.
Okay.
Mike Ogletree, yeah, kudos to him. I think he's playing some interesting skins there. I like it.
Okay, very good.
So Derek Forbes has been superstar on these songs so far. However, here in this track, I think the bass is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just fine. I'm giving MVP to Mike.
That sounds good to me. I don't see a standout bass line on this one either, or hear a standout bass line. I think it's fine. Not his best work, but not, nothing to be ashamed of, for sure. This whole song, it is interesting, but again, it's not grabbing hold of me. I'm not grabbing hold of it. We're kind of just standing there looking at each other. Here's the song.
All right. So, I'm not going to claim this is my favorite song in the album. It's not my least favorite song either. I enjoy this one. I like listening to it. We talked earlier about the recent live version of this album that they released. Near the end of 2023, they released a live album that was this album the whole way through,
yes.
Track to track. And that recent version adds kind of a more cinematic feel at the beginning of the song. It goes on a little longer, has some different sounds to it. I really, really like what they do. And then the second, or not the second half, the end of the song, the last quarter of the song that I was mentioning before that I'm unhappy with, I was hoping they'd kick that up a bit. They don't do too much. There's a part with some guitar harmonies that sort of perk up your ears when you hear it, but then it goes back to the same old thing. Mm-hmm. So, end of the day, the beginning of the live version I think is really impressive. I like what they do, but they don't fix anything. Not that the song needs to be fixed, but they don't add enough that it sounds remarkably different by the end.
Okay.
But check it out. It's pretty cool.
Fair enough.
All right, so that brings us up to the first song on side 2.
That's right. Yep, song 6 on the CD. But yeah, side 2, and we finally get the title track.
She was your friend until the ocean breaks. And when you dream the dream with me. And when you dream the dream with me. 81, 82, 83, 84.
how embarrassing is this? How embarrassing is this?
Yeah.
I called to you yesterday as we were getting our notes thrown together for this episode. Hey, Sarah! Because we're on different floors of the house. You yell down, yeah, what do you want? I'm embarrassed. I always thought this was a single. I can't find a video. I don't know, man. My whole life, I've been thinking that New Gold Dream was a single off of this album.
You know what? It kind of sort of was.
Was it?
Believe it or not, yeah. Here's what I found on Discogs. The song New Gold Dream, 81, 82, 83, 84, first appeared in 1982 on the original UK releases of the album. The standard album versions runs 5:38, blah, blah, blah. We know that. A 6-minute, 50-second, 12-inch version was prepared using a slightly different mix with different drum fill panning, different intro synths, and added reverb. It was initially only released in 1983 on 12-inch in Italy, and in the UK on a West German-made CD of the album. And on reissues and compilations, it was sometimes has the subtitle of the German 12-inch mix or the German 12-inch remix, even though it was never released on 12-inch anywhere except Italy. So
that is so confusing.
It is so confusing. And there was even a 7-inch version released in Italy too. But I looked on the charts for Italy. The one place I could look was Wikipedia. It does say it was released there. There's no chart listing. So I guess it didn't actually chart.
Okay.
So for some reason, they did release it just in Italy.
Really weird.
I know.
Okay, the version of the song that's on the UK pressing is 5 minutes and 38 seconds or so, I think, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here in the US, we have like a 4-minute
Yeah,
version?
446. Yep.
Is that the single version?
That is that was the one that was released in 83 on 45 in Italy. Yes.
Huh. Crazy.
So we have, the US version is 4 minutes 46. It was released on all the US editions. It was also released in Italy. Weird.
Yeah, real weird. Also weird is that I went into my note-taking initially thinking this was a single, so I have a lot of reviews for it because I thought we would be going through our single reviews and you'd have smash hits, making fun of it, and I would have my kind of boring ones, and then I would let you steal the spotlight with your funny reviews. But that's not to be. You know, another thing that made me think it was a single is that it gets airplay on Sirius XM on First Wave. They play this song.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely become a fan favorite over the years. Obviously, it's the title track of the album, so it's got some recognition. It's an awesome song, so why wouldn't you play it? But yeah, it's not actually, was never a single in the UK or in the US.
My mind is blown.
I know. That's what we're here to do, blow people's minds with our knowledge.
Yeah, we are. So, do you have any reviews?
I really don't. No, I have absolutely no reviews for this song.
All right, well, I'll just burn through a few then.
Okay.
So there was a very short one from a site called Drown in Sound.
Oh.
They say the overwhelming, gilded surge of the title track is the obvious crowning moment of a nigh-on immaculate record.
Oh, my.
The Quietus, one of my favorite websites for music, says, sitting expectant like an unsprung trap on side 2, New Gold Dream powers off into the ozone, courtesy of a 2-drummer thumping beat and a magisterial synth part that channels, handle, and harmonia all at once. Somehow, despite the deeper register of the voice, Kerr manages to avoid sounding pompous and rides the music, allowing Burchill's transcendent guitar line to bubble up and send the song into another stratosphere. Full of hope and power, this is possibly the band's greatest moment.
Oh, my goodness.
And I, of course, have the Classic Pop review because they looked at every single song in the album, and I love Classic Pop magazine. New Gold Dream has some of the best riffs and biggest beats, as perhaps it should, given it's the title track. But it's a memorable piece of Simple Minds some 40 years later for other, perhaps less obvious reasons, as its standout moments were later adopted by the dance community in the early to mid-90s. Bands including Utah Saints and Usura produced versions of the track, with the main melodies and lyrics sampled or reinterpreted, and almost soundtracked an entire strain of the then all-new electronic dance genre, opening the band up to a completely new audience and helping the album of the same name attain an even cooler status.
Wow.
So I did not know about those bands. I've seen the name Utah Saints before.
Yeah.
I remember them having mixed Tell Me When by the Human League. That's where I saw them, the Utah Saints mix, but I never listened to their music.
Yeah.
I did just go hunt those two songs down just to give everybody a little sample of what they were doing
Very good.
in
Let's
the early
hear
to
'em.
mid 90s. So Usura, I guess that's how you say it. There are dots between each letter, so maybe it's USURA, but I'll say Usura. That was an Italian electronic dance group that were together from 91 to 98. Here's a little taste of their song, which is called, I think it's called Free Your Mind.
Well, gee, that sounds familiar.
It's obviously called Open Your Mind,
Okay.
not Free Your Mind, like
Yeah.
I said. You got a lot of Simple Minds in there, along with a little bit of Donna Summer. But it sounds basically like they took this Simple Minds track and just added a dance beat to it.
Right. Yeah.
Not super creative on their part in terms of my old man views of music. So there's that. And the Utah Saints, they covered the song in 1992. They had a nice quote about Simple Minds, very complimentary, so I just wrote it down so I could share it. The Utah Saints, somebody in the band, I don't know who, said, "We'd always been fans of Simple Minds' early groundbreaking work. They were such an exciting hybrid electronic rock band, way ahead of their time. When we covered New Gold Dream, we were looking to do a big song cover that would work live. Originally, we were thinking of doing a version of either I Travel or a theme from Great Cities, but I Travel was pretty fast, had the electro snare on the downbeat, and we didn't think we could make a version that we were happy with. Although we did get to remix it a few years later, which we were really honored to do. Theme from Great Cities is an instrumental, and when we got into it, it was sounding too close to the original. So we went for New Gold Dream, partly because we realized there was a lot of tension in the intro, and live we could open with it and put the Utah chant over the top of it. It was a really exciting way to start our sets at the time, and it really helped us when we opened for U2 on the Zooropa tour, as it bridged the rock electronic genres perfectly for us." So here's a sample of what they did with the song.
She's the one in front of me, sounds and the ecstasy. Gold dream, crushing beats and fantasy, setting sun in front of me.
Ooh, I really like that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that one synth line totally reminds me of Chorus.
Oh,
Just like like that really makes me think of Vince.
Yeah, I can hear that. And he's a pretty good singer. He does sound a little early 90s. Like I remember a lot of bands singing like that when we were playing songs on the college radio.
Yeah.
I mean, he sounds good.
Right.
It was kind of cool. So I like that. I might listen to some Utah Saints, see what they sound like.
Okay.
So kind of cool that this song, by the 90s, by the time they released their version, Utah Saints,
Yeah, it's got to be 10, 15 years later, right?
that's around the time Simple Minds is releasing See the Lights.
Oh.
So that's like to show you where the two bands were,
Yeah.
Simple Minds were not going to come up with a song that sounded like this at that point in their career. I mean, I like See the Lights. It's fine, but it's sort of like adult contemporary.
Yeah.
So the young kids kind of latching on to what Simple Minds had done 10 years earlier and saying, hey, it's pretty cool. These old guys used to be cool.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That sounds about right. So the making of this song is pretty interesting to me. Have you read about that?
I believe I did.
Yeah, Charlie says, "We nailed New Gold Dream right away. Derek was playing this really fast pumping bass and it meant nothing. And just before that, I'd been doing this guitar riff thing and it meant nothing either. Then by accident, we put the two together and Jim went off his nut. He said, yes, effing brilliant. Then we went for it right away."
It's like chocolate and peanut butter, those old commercials.
Yeah.
Derek's over there eating chocolate. Charlie's eating peanut butter. Tastes fine. They bump into each other. Jim's like, oh, that's great.
It's great. And, the UK album version is, almost 6 minutes and the American version is almost 5 minutes. But the final song, the original version of it was 10 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that.
10 minutes.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah. Peter Walsh had to edit it down to produce the extended mix and the album mix. They were really just going crazy with this song. They loved playing it, apparently.
I was checking my CD here. There's 12-inch remixes and stuff on this CD of New Gold Dream, and I was just looking to see if any of them were 10-minute versions, like maybe they released that original version, but that is not the case. There's the German 12-inch remix that you mentioned.
Yeah, which isn't really German.
Yeah, that's 7 minutes. But that's the only mix available on that album.
Okay.
I don't know if it's available to listen to.
And you mentioned already in your one review about the drummers.
Drummers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. So what's the drummer situation on this one?
So the drummer situation for this one is that we have both Mike Ogletree and Mel Gaynor drumming on this song.
That's the best of both worlds.
In the same room and everything. And Derek Forbes has some really good memories of the recording of this, particularly the drumming. Do you have those notes too?
I don't know if I have the notes. I remember reading him. He said the drummers were facing each other in the recording studio. And
Yeah.
it was not only them and their drum kits, they actually had drum machines too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then he played along on bass as they recorded the rhythm section.
Yeah. I have a couple different quotes from him recalling this situation. He says, when it came to recording the song, Mike Ogletree and Mel Gaynor recorded their drum parts simultaneously in the townhouse at 4 o'clock in the morning. New Gold Dream is both of them. I was there on bass to play along with them. The two of them were facing off with a kit each in the live room, and I was in the live room with them. So the three of us were there. They were looking at each other, the two of them. They both had a drum machine as well. And then there was percussion after that. So you've got 2 full drum kits and 2 drummers playing at the same time, the drum machine, and then a lot of percussion to top it. So it was just monster. If you imagine that sound, and I was doing my tank division bass. Tank division bass. I love that. So, yeah, it sounds like it was an amazing experience. You know, he really remembers it well. He said in another quote, we had a guide track to play to. The light turned red and we started. It was like an airplane taking off. A wondrous cacophony of magical rhythms and badass bass.
So I've always thought that initial drum sound that you hear is a drum machine before the real drums kick in. I don't know if that's true or not, but since he says they each had drum machines in the room with them, I'm going to assume I'm right.
I think you probably are. Yep.
I always like the sound of that percussion in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
That's very good.
So yeah, as this title track was being written, the band referred to it as, saw 2 different names, either the festival riff or the festival song.
Right.
And Jim said the song was kind of a glorious noise, very anthemic, and we were just starting to play festivals and thought it would be good for that setting. So that's where the name came from. It is mentioned that they were drawing inspiration from Kraftwerk's Autobahn and Velvet Underground's What Goes On, which are both songs that I love. It's kind of surprising that I would love a Velvet Underground song because they're not using any synths.
Right.
But I do enjoy me some Velvet Underground, and that's one of the songs that, you know, it's a song that doesn't get as much play because it's not on that first album with Nico, but it's on their third album, and that's an album that was plagued by like Lou Reed messed up the mix because he wanted the vocals to be louder, and there's all different versions of it. You can get the one that he mixed and the other mix where everything is more even sounding, but that's a really good song, What Goes On. So I was trying to find a sample. I was listening to it yesterday, trying to find a part of it that made me think of this song so I could say, well, here's the obvious reference.
Yeah.
But I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
Well, that's okay. And a lot of times we can't really tell specifically the influences. You know, it's not like note for note, but, you know, they have that in their mind. So that's still pretty cool.
And another influence that Jim talks about in the Sunday Herald in 2008, he says that one of the big influences on the song was a genre of music called krautrock. I think we talked about this in an earlier episode. Not 100% sure, but I think this also reflects upon the song that we just talked about once you hear what he says. He says it's not one of the most flattering terms.
Yeah.
It was essentially these German garage bands named New, Can, and another called La Dusseldorf. And basically, they'd hit on a chord and repeat it until you actually felt the thing was moving. And New Gold Dream was an exercise in that. I suppose we felt there was some sort of alchemy going on in our band, and we felt we'd used our influences, and with our influences, we had cooked up something of our own. Once I read that, I can understand the influence here on this track, but I also thought that we are hearing that influence of that idea of repeating a chord more than you think you should on the previous song, because in the beginning, I always think that opening chord is going to change much earlier than it does.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised that, like, oh, they're holding this chord past, like, the first whatever that is, maybe a measure or 2 measures. So I think that must be the same idea.
Yeah, maybe. Speaking of notes in the beginning of the song, and you had a note about the beginning of the previous song, and you always think of a certain song when you hear somebody up there likes you. Well, when I hear the first two notes of this song, I always think of the Communards cover of Never Can Say Goodbye.
You mean this?
Yes, that's it. Now, they aren't in quite the same key. The Communard song is just a little bit higher, but they are pretty close, and I think the synth voice is pretty similar. So I always think, oh, it sounds like the Communards.
Well, if there's a song that reminds me of the Communards, I think I'm all for that.
Okay.
Any excuse to listen to the Communards is welcome, in my opinion. What a great band.
I love them.
Those two albums are amazing, particularly that first one. I love the second one as well, but that first one, that's one I actually wore out a cassette of it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Playing. I had to buy a second cassette when I was still in high school because that first one was just played to death.
Maybe that's an album we should talk about at some point. Sounds like you have some good memories.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I love that one.
We could talk about maybe both of them at one time. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk more about this one, New Gold Dream, because what a great song this is. Wow. I love this song. How do you feel about it?
What a great one this is. I also love this song. Yeah, listening to this, you can't help feel the positivity, the energy of this band. We talked about it early on in our look back at this record, how they made the decision to bring some optimism into the recording of this album, and this is one of the songs that really, really taps into that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
idea.
right from the start. You know, as soon as I hear the beginning of this song, I get so excited when I hear those keyboards. I think this is just such a fun, exciting, energetic, positive song. So catchy. It really makes me happy. You can see me gesturing and really moving around because I really like this song a lot.
I do as well. Jim talks about writing the lyrics for the songs. He says, I was trying to articulate the euphoria. We needed some euphoric language, I guess. And we had this line, New Gold Dream, but I couldn't quite nail it. He must be hearing that in the music because he's trying to get the lyrics to reflect that feeling.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. And this is kind of a funny story, him coming up with the lyrics for this one.
Yeah.
He says, the budget was running out. We had 2 or 3 days left to go. We were going to Sweden to play a festival. I said, I'll do it Monday. I'll have it on Monday, the last day. But he says the problem was I had too many ideas, and I could never within myself decide which was the way to go. But I remember thinking, I'm going to have to find some time in Sweden to really listen to this and decide. So we had a sound check, and I went back to the hotel, and it's got the biggest bath I'd ever seen.
Huh.
And I thought, I'd love to have a bath, but I have to listen to the song and write the lyrics. And then it hit me. Why can't I do both? So this is another story where, like Freddie Mercury, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, written in the bathtub. After the bath, this new gold dream, it was all coming. By the time I came out of the bath, is it Archimedes who came up with things in the bath? It was like Archimedes. I went, yeah, I know what this is.
Eureka.
And I flew back on the Monday morning, and I did it Monday afternoon, and that was the first time Charlie had heard it. I thought, this is going to be our time. I could feel it coming. And when I say that, it sounds terribly arrogant, but I feel all right saying it because it's not me making the music. It's the music that I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So I love that story. Like,
yeah.
You can just picture him like he travels to Sweden. He's exhausted from traveling. In the back of his mind all day, he's like, I've got to come up with these lyrics. And then he sees that like bathtub. It must have been like an amazing bathtub.
Oh, yeah. I'm totally thinking of the scene in Pretty Woman where she's in the bathtub with her Walkman, listen to Prince. Because he had his Walkman everywhere, right? So I'm
right.
he's up to his neck in bubbles listening to this song and just like grooving. I can like totally see him doing that. And I love that story. I haven't heard that many. I hadn't seen those details about it. I saw the fact that they played this festival. He felt super pumped up and he's like, yeah, I've got this. And that's when he also added the 81, 82, 83, 84, because he was just like, this made it sound like the times began to belong to simple minds. And he was just so upbeat and so excited. And that has helped me to appreciate and enjoy this song even more, knowing where he was coming from when he came up with the words and was finally ready to sing this song. I can hear his energy. I can hear his happiness, his optimism, and the music was already in place to support those feelings. So it just really comes together so nicely.
Right. I'd seen a couple places that the numbers, the 81 thing came late in the day. You just verified that.
Yeah.
And we talked in the first episode about the name of the album. We mentioned something about the meaning of the numbers. I don't know if you have it there, but it was something like the 81 was where they had been.
Yeah.
82 was where they were now. And 83 and 84 was like the future, which
Yeah.
is going to belong to Simple Minds.
Yep. That was exactly how he felt.
So to me, this is the high point of the songs we are tackling in this episode. Like I said, I've always thought this was a single.
Yeah.
So I really thought highly of this one. I'm learning for the first time it wasn't. There are, like you said, they released it in Italy, but there are on YouTube, there are TV appearances of them playing this song live on television shows.
Okay.
So that's another reason why, you might think it was a single.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat to see them do it live at the time. Over the years that we've seen them live, we've seen the current band do it.
Sure.
It's pretty neat to watch the band of 1982 do it. It becomes a little more synth heavy
Okay.
when they do it live. Here on record, I was kind of surprised at how they keep the mix of guitars, bass, and synths pretty consistent with the rest of the album. I always think of this as a heavily synthesizer song, but here on the record, it's not especially so.
I mean, the guitar in it, that's like a really good guitar riff.
Yeah. I was very critical of Jim's lyrics in The Big Sleep earlier in this episode. However, I won't say a single unkind word about his lyrics here on this track.
Good.
We've been tracking the gold theme across the album,
Yeah.
so it's obvious here.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert. Does this song go well with the title or with the theme of the album? Yeah. Since it shares the title of the song of the album, the title of the album. The song and the album have the same name. So yeah.
Now, I've seen mentions online, fans saying that Jim has mentioned over the years that the she in this song is Fame.
Okay.
I was not able to find a quote of Jim saying that anywhere, so I'm going to take that secondhand.
Yeah, I have not seen that either.
I haven't seen it. But if it's true, how great is that second line? She's the one in front of me, the sirens and the ecstasy.
Yeah.
Like as you picture where they are in their career, which we just talked about, they're about to become this huge thing.
Right.
Fame is a siren and it's ecstasy. I love that line.
Yeah.
When you think about it in that context.
Yeah. There's so much pure joy in this song compared to the first song of the album. We talked about that as being full of joy, but kind of, to me, was kind of wistful. There was just a little bit of tinged, I don't want to say sadness, but it wasn't like pure joy and optimism. The only thing I feel in this song that isn't completely full of joy is the phrase, she is your friend until the ocean breaks. That's, just a little bit on the downside, but musically and lyrically, I think it's extremely positive and joyful all the way through. And because of that, I actually like the placement of this song on the second side because it's more of an arrival or a culmination rather than starting off right on top. It may seem strange to put the title track not as the first song on the album, but because we're kind of building up to that joy and culmination, I think, on the first side. We have a little bit of a drop off at the end. But I like that we start off here with this just pure energy.
Pure energy.
Pure energy. And I really do think this is not just optimistic, but joyful compared to some of these other ones that just have a little bit of a slant to them that are not straight ahead joy.
Yeah, it's no surprise that there was not a lot of joy and optimism found in the song that explores what happens to you when you enter the big sleep.
Right.
So it is good to rebound with this song at the start of side 2. Would side 2, if they hadn't placed this song at the beginning of side 2, if this was the first song instead, would Glittering Prize been a great way to start side 2? Yeah, it still would have been. That would still have gotten the mood back up when you flip the record. But this song works even better as the start of side 2. You mentioned that line, she is your friend until the ocean breaks. I have a couple notes here about what you said. I love that line. I've never fully understood it, but paired with she is your friend until the bitter end, it paints a picture of like global destruction so massive that it literally breaks the ocean. It's the bitter end of everything indeed. I just love the power behind that line. It's not optimistic. It's quite the opposite, but the theme of rough ocean continues with the line, the beat goes crashing. I know drums can be crashing drums, but the other thing that I think of is crashing is ocean waves.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm getting this theme, like a ocean water theme.
Oh, definitely.
As we talk about the song as well. And going back to the idea of fame that I said about the she meaning fame, the idea of fame is also reflected in another great line, my second favorite line of the song. The sun is set in front of me worldwide on the widest screen.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that line. That's another one, like I mentioned earlier, listening to that song. If you were listening to that song with binoculars, you'd have to zoom all the way out to look at the picture.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't zoom out far enough to get the whole image that he's seeing in front of him as he's getting ready to take on the world.
Right.
The sun is just so wide and the future is so bright. He's got to wear shades.
Right. Yeah, that's a great line. I think Bono liked that line too. I remember seeing something as I was researching that he quoted that line in a time where he was talking about how much he liked Simple Minds and Jim Kerr.
Maybe it was that 50 Songs That Saved My Life thing that he released.
Yeah, maybe it was.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, that's a great line and very optimistic, of course. I like the line, when you dream with me. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, I think he's talking to his audience, the listeners, the fans, the people that have been with him all this time. Like, we're going to go through this together. And he's so excited about that.
Are you talking about the line, when you dream with me? Me.
Yeah, it's a little quite a glissade there. Actually, he does quite a few of those on here throughout the song.
Yes, he does. And one of the reviews that I mentioned, or that I read up above, did mention his deep singing.
Yeah.
How he, even though he sings so the deeper register, he manages to avoid sounding pompous. He may avoid sounding pompous in this song, Sarah, but does he sound like anything else that you thought of as you were listening?
Or anyone else.
Yeah, or anyone else.
Okay, in those instances where he's like, me.
Here, wait, I have a sample.
Okay.
Here's what we're talking about. Check out the end of this line of vocals.
Yeah. Hello, Pete Burns called. He wants his voice back.
We were slaving away yesterday, and I heard that, and I had this thought, and you must have been having about the same exact thought around the same exact time, because
Yeah.
I ran upstairs and said, play this song from the 1 minute and 50 second mark and tell me what you think you're listening to. And you're like, Pete Burns?
Yep. Yeah, he does. He's channeling Pete there. It's pretty funny. There's a lot of this and it's very low and deep, but I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
Now, I probably shouldn't say this, but...
All right, we'll just cut it out then.
Oh, well, I'm going to say it anyway because I want to hear. I'm going to say it. But I do think that the way that he sings those la la la's at the beginning with that really low voice, that sounds kind of funny to me.
Funny haha?
Funny, maybe haha.
Funny not right?
Yeah, funny not right. Because I think if he'd chosen a different word or syllable besides law, I wouldn't think it was as funny. I don't know why, but law just doesn't sound like a word that should be sung in a deep voice. Mm-hmm. Law. It just sounds weird. And it puts me in mind of the Seinfeld episode where Jerry came up with a voice for his girlfriend's belly button. Hello, la, la, la. And I hear that and I hear la, la, la. And I'm like, I can't take you seriously, Jim. La, la. Like that. La, la, la.
Are you sure you're not still angry about last night?
No, I'm fine. Just as long as you don't ever do that voice again.
Never?
Never.
Well, what about if you're not around?
No,
So I have to choose between seeing you and doing the voice?
that's right.
I can do that.
What's your decision?
I don't know.
Jerry, hi.
You don't hear laws being sung in that deep of a voice. You just don't.
Yeah, you're right.
And like he can get away with it completely fine. And Don't You Forget About Me. Like those laws, I'm totally on board with. La, 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 la. That's fine. It's higher up. But a low la is no good in my book.
What would you have him replace it with? Fa? Me?
Ma.
Me? Mama? You want to sing
Ha.
mama? Mama?
Ha. I don't know.
Ha, ha, ha.
Something. Just not la. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But not la. It's just not. It's not working for me.
I guess if a deep voiced la would work, Sisters of Mercy would have done it.
Right.
Did they ever do it?
I don't think so. No.
I'm not sure.
So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Did Crash Test Dummies sing it? They probably. I bet you they did. They sang.
They sang instead.
Do you
Maybe-
want Jim Kerr to go?
Well, maybe not quite like that, but even like like some kind of a breathier or I don't know, just not law.
Okay.
Anything but law.
I never thought about it when I listened to it, but I kind of understand what you're saying.
It just doesn't sound right. Hello.
Well, what I think does sound right is, like I said, this song, although live, it becomes more focused on keyboards. Here on the album, it's another example of the band providing a perfectly equal mix of all instruments. There are guitar parts in this song, Sarah, that make me smile and fill my heart when I hear them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And there are things that are not even like, they're not like long guitar riffs. It's just little like one measure long after he sings All Along the Way. The other one is only a few seconds long, and I think it's just one note kind of repeated. It's right after the first time he sings the numbers, 81, 82, 83, 84. It's not even a riff. It's just the same note. But like the way it sounds and the way it comes in, both of these things that hopefully I have added to the episode, they're just joyous. Like Charlie is amazing. And maybe it's because every time you see Charlie, he looks happy. Like, it's hard for me at this point in my life, being a Simple Minds fan, to picture Charlie before this album. Like, if the band was so dour and not optimistic, I feel like Charlie couldn't even do that.
I know.
Based on how we have experienced Charlie.
Wasn't how he was wired.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
It's crazy.
He's very jolly.
He is.
Yeah, and I can't picture exactly where those points are in the song that you just mentioned, but I have a note that I love the little riff, and I think it was a guitar riff right before he starts singing, and the world goes hot. Whatever it is, I loved it. I wrote it down. I said it's perfect. So I think, we are in line with these little sounds that are just making a big, big difference in this song.
Yeah, I would use the word perfect to describe the song, even the la-las. I'm not going to let that distract me from labeling this song as perfect. I think all the sounds in this song are amazing on all fronts. And as a fan of keyboard playing, I'm glad to finally have a song where I don't feel like the leading instrument is the bass guitar. Derek Forbes has been doing great, but I come to 80s music and want to hear synths. And even though this isn't led by a synth, it's part of the mix. This song, this is where the synths shine.
Oh, yeah. They shine like a new gold dream.
So, Sarah, I've got to say that this is an amazing track to wrap up with today.
Oh, yeah.
We have gotten through what I consider to be the difficult middle of the record.
Okay.
A song that I don't especially enjoy, an instrumental that sounds really nice, but doesn't move me like I expect that it might when it starts, and then finally an album highlight, New Gold Dream, second only to the wonderful song, Someone Somewhere in Summertime. Nothing that we talked about today is bad by any stretch, but to wrap up our penultimate episode on this song is akin to going out on top. My excitement level, it dipped a little bit early on today, but now that I'm back in love with Simple Minds, you know what? I'm ready to finish up this record.
Ooh,
I'm so excited. Let's do it right now. Let's finish it right now. Let's move on to Glittering Prize. Let's just... I love Simple Minds. Let's power through it.
Oh, would that I could. I have no notes. I have nothing
Folks,
prepared.
You heard it here live on the show. Me, your least favorite host, I want to give you the rest of the Simple Minds discussion today and release it. Sarah, your number one choice, the one everybody loves, the winner of the 2024 Trivia Challenge.
You brought it up, not
She
me.
is bailing on her responsibilities as host on the Permanent Record podcast.
Well, do you have any notes?
I'm ready to go, Sarah. I'm not surprised. Let me just say, I'll drop it by saying I'm not surprised that you don't want to finish the record today.
I'm really sorry. Now I feel like I've let you down.
Not just me.
Everyone?
Exactly.
Wait, we'll be back. We will be back. We'll be back.
We will be back. We'll be back
Yes.
next time to finish up this record.
Yes.
In the meantime,
Yes.
feel free to visit us online if you haven't already. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. I'm good at like maybe 2 of those sites,
Okay.
and I'm struggling with some of them. I'll tell you, Blue Sky, seems like there's nobody there.
It's an empty sky, huh?
There's a tumbleweed. A tumbleweed blows through.
Okay.
But yeah, follow us there. We share the episodes. We share news about 80s music. We have little discussions with folks. It's actually pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
We love chatting with people about the music, and that's a great place to connect with us.
Indeed it is. And you can always drop us a voicemail, or you can also send us an email, permrecordpodcast@gmail.com. And we love reading and responding to your emails.
We also love playing your memories of these albums, even though we don't get to do it very often. We did put out a call in an earlier episode for your Simple Minds memories. If you had any great stories about growing up listening to New Gold Dream, we'd love to hear those and play them on the show. You can always call us and leave a voicemail that we'll then play on the show. We're at 724-490-8324. Or you can go to speakpipe.com/permrecordpod and leave a voicemail for us there and get your thoughts on this great album onto the show. We'd love to hear you.
And if you like what you've listened to today or any other day from us, we'd be happy for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. And if we get that review, we will read it out loud, and we'll also thank you profusely.
That's a new thing we've started doing. We used to come on the show and read them to ourselves. And then I would just edit out the empty space because people complained, like, hey, there's like 75 seconds of empty space in the episode. Yeah, I was reading to myself. But yeah, we now read them out loud. So if you do take the time to write up a review and help out the show, we thank you on the air by reading it.
Indeed we do.
So my Coca-Cola Spiced can is empty.
Oh.
I'm feeling the need for a Sprite Chill
All right.
about now, so I'm going to go grab one. And we will be back next time to finish up this album, New Gold Dream.
I cannot wait.
Cool. I'll see you then, Sarah.
Dreaming a dream with me, and the world goes high, and the city takes, and the beat goes crashing all along the way. You are my friend until the ocean breaks. And when you dreaming a dream with me. And when we dreaming the latest dream. 81, 82, 83, 84. 81, 82, 83, 84. 81, 82, 83, 84. Give me the truth, I wanna hear it some more. With your new gold dream, with your new gold dream, with your new